Good morning and thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Ade and welcome to Sunday Online. Hey, so good to have you with us today. We're so glad that you're watching online with us. It's so wonderful to have you right here, right now. If this is your first time, we would love it if you would take a moment to put your name in the chat. Our team want to say a big welcome to you. We want to welcome you to our midst, and it's so great having you here. But right now, before we go into any other part of the service, we want to see what our kids are doing on the Tenacious Takeover.
Hello everybody, good morning. My name is Abby and we are getting ready for the Tenacious Takeover. Here with me today I have one of our fantastic leaders and that is...
Aaron.
Aaron, fantastic. Welcome Aaron. And I also have two of our wonderful kids and they are...
Joshua and Kevin.
Hey, I love those hand actions guys. Fantastic. I'm so excited for our two challenges today. Our challenge number one is how many star jumps can you do in 1 minute? Okay, so I'm going to start the timer. There's no preparation needed. All you need to do is as many star jumps as you can. Kids at home, I want you to stand up as well, and I want you to see if you can do some more star jumps than our leader and our kids. Right, I'm going to start the timer. You have 1 minute, as many star jumps as you can. 3, 2, 1, go. You've got 1 minute. I need you to count yourself because there's too many people doing it for me to count. Wow, that is quick. That is good star jumps. Oh, don't get too tired. It's tiring just watching you guys. That is so many. It's a good workout. All right, you've already had 20 seconds. So keep going. Don't get too tired. I hope you've still got lots of energy. For everyone watching at home, we are filming this in the evening. So you can imagine these guys have had a busy day. I don't know how they're still going, but they're managing. I hope you guys at home are doing a lot as well. You've only got 22 seconds left. Okay, so keep going. I can see you're slowing down a bit there, guys, but keep going. Keep going. You're almost there. You've got 10 more seconds. Who is going to win, the leader or the kids? We are about to find out in 3, 2, 1. Stop! Stop, 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 stop. Fantastic. Okay, let's find out how many you guys got. First of all, Kevin, how many did you get?
96.
96. Oh my goodness, that is fantastic. Joshua, how many did you get?
97.
Wow, well done, fantastic. And Aaron, how many did you get?
I got 99.
Whoa, that was so close. Oh my goodness, well done, all three of you. That is fantastic. Sadly, kids, this time the leader did win, but don't you worry, we have another challenge, okay? For this challenge, you will need a piece of paper and a pen. So if you want to quickly get a piece of paper and a pen or something to write on, that'll be fantastic. Just a piece of paper and a pen. Kids at home, I hope you're getting your piece of paper and your pens ready as well. Fantastic. So we have just done some star jumps. And now I'm going to give you 1 minute to write down as many animals that you can think of that can jump. So not just any animals, but animals that can jump. I can think of at least a few straight away. So you have 1 minute. 3, 2, 1. Your minute starts now. Go, 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 go. So kids at home as well, I hope you're joining in. Even if you don't have a paper and pen, don't you worry. You can maybe say it out loud to your grown-ups that are at home as well, so you can be joining in. I'm wondering if you can maybe think about some walks that you may have been on in the park recently. Are there any animals that maybe jump into the trees or that you've seen jump around somewhere? Or maybe if you go to the zoo, maybe there's some animals that you have seen jumping around. Okay, well, guys, you've had more than half your time now, so I hope you at least have some animals written down. Joshua and Kevin and Aaron, oh, I'm looking forward to seeing how many animals you have got written. And kids at home, I wonder if you can guess who's going to win. Do you think it's going to be the leader? Do you think it's going to be the kids? Or do you think you're going to get more than everyone? Okay, your time is up. Time is finished. Put down your pens. Time to stop. Fantastic. Okay, let's start with the leader first this time. Aaron, how many animals did you write down that can jump?
15.
15? What? Oh, wow. Okay, Kevin, how many did you write down?
I got 11.
11. Well done. How about you, Joshua?
6.
6. Fantastic. Okay, kids, can you read out what animals you have, please?
I got 8. I got a kangaroo, a dolphin, a dog, a cat, a squirrel, a fish, a flying squirrel.
Cool. A fish?
I got a bird. Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, cool. I guess fish could jump in the water. Why not? That works. Okay, Joshua, what did you get?
I got kangaroo, frog, toad, dog, cat, and sheep.
Brilliant. So, Kevin, you got 8. Joshua, you got 6, yeah?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well done. So, altogether, you got 14. Good job. All right, Aaron, how many did you get again? 15?
15.
All right, I'll be the judge of that. Go on then, read them out.
I got frog, dog, cat, horse, tiger, lion, cheetah, kangaroo, coyote, polar bear, sun bear, grizzly bear, brown bear, rabbit, fox, and hare.
You know what? I'm not sure how I feel about those bears, you know. I've never seen a bear jump. I have never in my life seen a bear jump. Boys, have you ever seen a bear jump?
No.
Nah, Aaron, I'm not counting the bear. Sorry. Kids, that means that maybe the bears jump. I've never seen them, so I'm going to let the kids win that one. Kids, well done. You are the winners of that round. Well done. So the leaders won 1. The kids won 1. Fantastic. Well done, all of you. And kids at home, I wonder how many you got. Did you write down bear as well, or did you write down a kangaroo? Maybe you can write down your answers in the chat or get your parents to write them down, and then it'll be great to hear what answers you had. And parents, grown-ups at home, we do have some kids notes down below that you can click a link for so that you can follow along with today's preach with your kids at home. That's all from us. Aaron, kids, give us a wave. Thank you so much for coming. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Tenacious Kids. That was fantastic. Today we're going to continue our sermon series, Change is Here to Stay. But before we do that, we're going to continue our segment, Quick Fire Questions.
Hi everybody, my name is Gianni and my family name, surname is Gaeta, and I come from Italy. Oh well, you can imagine what my answer is going to be is pasta. Okay, I might upset a few people. In England is Chelsea, and but in Italy is Inter Milan. I grew up with that. English. Family, I am married to one wife and I got 3 kids, 2 grandchildren. That's it. Oh, when I was 13, just 13 and a half, a long time ago. Really, it was because I realized how, first of all, how strong he is, because my friend was touched by God in a meeting spontaneously, and he was really a troublemaker. He was the worst of us both. And that really kind of shocked me, and I thought, God is here. And in that moment, I also gave my life to Christ, and I knew it was the best life, really. I now live in Austria, where I am a missionary. Yeah, I lead a whole network of churches called Life Church, and basically is the churches that my wife Angela and we planted as part of our mission. Okay, wow. The missions work basically is the vision, and the mission work we do is to plant churches in Austria and abroad. We have started also. Start really from zero in people's living room and then develop into a church, and obviously train leaders, men and women, for leadership, and then make sure the churches are involved in the society by starting schools, getting involved politically, in social services and all of that. So this is the heart really of our mission here in Austria. Actually, no, not really. When I came to Austria, we just came to help other people. I didn't see myself as a leader in the sense of a pastor of a church, or definitely not a lead pastor. We came to do youth work and support other missionaries. So we had no idea we would be doing what we're doing now. Is to see people come to Christ, and also then also develop in all who they can be in life, and also obviously in the kingdom. This is the greatest joy. Yeah, I mean, I've had a few surprises. For example, there are sometimes people you think these people we can never reach, you know, they're just unreachable, you know. And about 7 years ago, there was two guys we baptized, and they invited their boss of the company they work for to the baptism. And I met him, and I realized he also become a believer. The two guys got baptized because he became a believer. And then when I asked what does he do as a job, he said, well, actually, I used to be the owner of the biggest clubs in Austria. And he told me the name, and everybody knew the name of the clubs. They were really the biggest clubs there are. And it's a long story, but basically one day there was a guy who told him why he was so happy. He was a gardener. He was an old man. And he asked me, why are you so happy? The guy asked him, why are you so happy? And he said, well, because I read the Bible and I go to my life group. And he said, what? What is a life? What do you mean read the Bible? So basically he got the little New Testament. He gave his life to Christ, and that transformed his life. And basically he then closed all the clubs because they were really kind of very, very immoral clubs. You know, he just couldn't do that anymore. And he opened a chain of restaurants in Austria, which are called Rock's Grill Bar. And that's where we started one of our churches, and he became a believer, obviously. And many of the waiters of his restaurants have become believers, the managers, the chefs in the kitchen, which we baptized. And there is a chain reaction now. He's become so famous and telling everybody about Jesus. And he's very successful in his restaurants, you know. And so it's an incredible story how a guy like this, he was in the news most of the time, and how he got transformed by God from a total immoral, really a crook. You know, he had been condemned by the law because he owed the tax of people 60 million euros. He stole them, you know, like he didn't pay in tax. So you must imagine he was a total, you know, like bad guy, and then he became a believer, and he was transformed by God, and he's actually incredible, you know. The biggest challenges is, I guess, to recruit enough people on board. You know, we are doing quite well. I mean, all our leaders are all Austrians and men and women, which is already quite amazing because it's kind of very unusual here. But it is a challenge still to find enough people say, I want to go and start a Life Church location. And obviously we have always more vision than money, and so that's a big challenge, It's like, we have a great car, but sometimes the petrol is missing, like in a sense of, the money to make this mission work here. That's right. Big challenge, yeah. Well, we had to organize life differently. I have been doing lots more Zooms and internet calls, preaching in most places, then online, and really. But it also has opened up our mind to what is possible and made things even more accessible. So it has changed in a difficult way. We had to adapt a lot, but also we discovered a lot of possibilities. Yes, for example, a very practical example. We were always wondering, how can we get more people to come to a teaching evening in the church? I mean, Vienna is a big place where we live, and people sometimes just don't get to come for 1 hour in the public system and for teaching and then go back home for an hour. So now we do most of the teaching, recorded, and people watch it at home, for example, and we will carry on doing that. Pray for health. Obviously, we are with so many people around, and it's just impossible to do it properly, in a sense of to keep always, safe from the virus. Health protection. Also, we are a lot on the road. And pray also for what is our biggest challenge, that God will release more people will be passionate about church planting, and also that God will open doors for resources, being people resources or financial resources.
Just want to thank you for the way in which we've been journeying together over these last few months. As you might remember, my ask in March is that we would remain flexible and, of course, full of faith as we work through this pandemic. And I just want to say that we as a leadership have been greatly encouraged by the strong commitment the London Riverside Church family has to each other and to the work of God where He has placed us and called us to serve. And there are so many opportunities that are opening up for us at this time. Opportunities for service, opportunities to increase our ministries and our reach into our community. So I'm excited about that, and particularly because next month on the 18th we're going to have our I Love the House offering. Now, many of you will know this is something we do annually. It's an opportunity to express our commitment and our excitement for the place in which we worship and serve. And so I want to encourage you to make preparations for that. Even in this difficult period, in this strange situation that we find ourselves, we believe this is an act of faith and an important part of our church calendar. So let's come together in October, whether we're online or in person. We're going to receive that offering, that I Love the House offering, and let's celebrate God's faithfulness and our love for His house.
The title of my preach this morning is Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. We're church family, and so I believe I can be honest with you. I believe I can tell you the truth about myself. When I was a lot younger, let's call myself Little Reg. Little Reg would look into the mirror of his bathroom, and he would study his face, study the way he looked at his hair at the time, look at all the features he had, and he would ask himself this question: are you Jesus incarnate? Now, I know what you're thinking. What on earth kind of question are you thinking right now? But the reality is that I would read the Bible and read how, we are the hands and feet of Jesus. And Little Reg genuinely thought to himself that maybe, possibly, he could be, at the age of 7 or 8, Jesus incarnate. The thought would come into me constantly: am I actually Jesus? And how would I know if I'm Jesus or not? And then fast forward a couple of years where I was climbing over a railing fence after we've pranked some friends, and I was given a boost. I slipped, my side went in, the railing spike fractured a rib, touched my lung, and then my hand went in halfway through. And I remember pulling myself off and eventually going to the hospital, looking at myself in the mirror thinking, am I Jesus? I need a Thomas around me right now. And we are currently in the middle of our series called Change is Here to Stay. And the truth of the matter is that we are talking about the mirror, not the newspaper, but the thing that you look at in the mirror in the morning to see if that is you, to see if you are looking good, to make sure your hair is on point, or for some of us, like myself, to ensure that the shine on our head is actually correct. So we look at the mirror to have an assessment of who we are. Let's pray this morning. God, I thank you that in this moment you are here with us. And I pray that over the next couple of moments that you will speak directly into our hearts and into a situation. That because you have done a good work within our lives, that we will leave better as a result. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. This series really looks at how crisis is an opportunity for us to evaluate and assess where we actually are. It gives us an opportunity to check where we are, to assess what is going on. A couple of weeks ago, I preached from the title, Change, It's Okay. And I basically outlined how within change, it's both uncomfortable and also evident. It's both uncomfortable and it's evident. How in the discomfort of change, we may come to this realization that we're not as perfect as we once thought we were, that we're not as good as we are, that we're not as grand as we are, that we're maybe not the person who has it all together. We opened up the Bible and we saw from Psalm 26 verse 2, which says, "Examine me, O Lord, and prove me, try my mind and my heart." And this is such a massive statement to be saying to God, for him to try you, prove you, examine you. We're asking the person who created us to look at us intently, to see if there are things in our lives, areas in our lives that we need to change and improve on. And the psalmist here is asking God to examine them, to prove them, to try them. What they're saying effectively is that they want their behaviors, their pattern of thought, their ideologies to be looked at, investigated, tested, proved, to purify, to ensure that it's correct. It's this conscious effort, this conscious thought of ensuring that we are refined to be who we are supposed to be. Basically, a quality assurance test. And the question really came, if God was to look at you, if God was to examine you, what would he find? What would he see? And in a moment of crisis, is a moment for God, for us to see what's really going on the inside. Crisis reflects who you are. When I was in secondary school, the craze at that particular point was to have a slit in your eyebrow. Everyone was doing it. All the guys were doing it. And you would go to your barbers and you would say, "Hey, listen, I need that clean look." And the barber would hook you up. And at that time, my barber was my mum. So conversations about having a slit in your eye, on your eyebrow, was not going to happen. She's Nigerian, so, you can imagine the conversations that are taking place at that particular point. You want a slit in your eyebrow? What are you talking about? And so I thought to myself, listen, I can't go into school the next day without a slit. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And so whilst my dad was sleeping, my mum was preparing food, I ran upstairs to our bathroom and I looked around for something I could use to produce what I needed for myself. I looked around, I rummaged around, and I eventually came across my dad's razor blade. I thought, okay, well, clearly this is what they're doing. I don't know how they do this in the barbershop. No one took me to get a slit in my eyebrow. And so I got the razor blade. I studied the mirror. I looked at it and I went, pew. And in my head, I thought I was going to look the bee's knees. I was going to look hot diggity. That's how good I was going to look. Until I actually looked at the mirror, and instead of seeing a masterpiece, this wonderful, slick, delicate line on my eyebrow, what was actually there was a lane the size of the A13. I had produced something that was not supposed to be there. And I remember freaking out thinking, I can't walk around with the A13 on my eyebrow. I can't do this. This is just going to be too embarrassing. And I remember my mum calling down saying it's time for dinner. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do here? What is going to happen? And so I rummaged around knowing that my mum had her makeup bag in the bathroom, and I don't know makeup, so I don't know what's what. I don't know if you put mascara on your mustache. I don't know. So I got anything that was black, some pencil thing, some ink thing, and I filled it in. And I walked downstairs, and we had dinner. And obviously, I know this may not look good, so I'm covering my face. And my mum's looking at me, assessing. And all good mums, they know what's happened before you even say anything. So mum let dinner happen, she let dad go away. And she said, you better go upstairs right now and wash your face. I ran back upstairs and I looked at myself in the mirror after I had rubbed it all out. And I thought, oh my gosh, the A13 truly is in Dagenham. And I thought to myself, see, the expectation of what I really wanted to be like versus the reality of what I actually look like were two different things. The mirror exposed my true self, exposed the true reality of what I actually look like. Imagine if I walked out on the street confidently on what I thought I looked like. Can you imagine the laughs that I would have got, the ridicule that I would have got? It would have been a complete disaster, as it would have exposed what I truly look like to the world. And in the same way, a crisis can help confront who we truly are. Here's a thought for you, that going through crisis shows us what is on the inside. Like a mirror, it reflects who we really are. If I said to you these words, if I mutter, mirror, mirror on the wall, there are two things that you could possibly think. One, the song Me, Myself and I by De La Soul, or the Queen talking to her mirror in Snow White. She asked the mirror, who is the fairest of them all? And I find this line very fascinating because the Queen keeps asking this question, who is the prettiest? Who is the prettiest in all of the land? And the mirror would reply back, it's you. Until one day the mirror turns around and says, hey, it's actually not you anymore, it's Snow White. The Queen can't take it anymore. And she has to do something about it. She doesn't like the truth that is presented to her. And I believe that sometimes we can be like this, where a crisis is put in front of us and this mirror is put in front of us to confront who we really are. But the truth is we don't like it. We don't like it. Eliza is a child who likes to cry. She'll cry for any particular reason. She'll cry if she's cold, she'll cry if she's hot, she'll cry if you tell her off, she'll cry if the blanket isn't the right way. Genuinely, if the blanket is not, as she puts it, this way and not this way, she'll cry and make a fuss. And as a result, Caleb Joshua has come up with a nickname to describe who she is. He'll say to her, you are such a crybaby. You're such a crybaby, Eliza. You're a crybaby, crybaby, crybaby. And Eliza will get into a huff and a puff, and guess what she will do? Of course, she'll cry. And then she will turn around and say, I'm not a crybaby. I'm not a crybaby. The truth of who she is was exposed to her, the truth of it, but she did not like it. Going through a crisis shows us what is really going on the inside of us. Like a mirror, it reflects who we really are. So what are you like? When a crisis comes, when the mirror of crisis comes your way, what are you like? Do you show faith? Do you retreat to negativity? Do you exude positivity? Do you get angry? Do you get sad? Do you celebrate? Or do you lose hope? Do you stand with others when they're going through something? Do you think about yourself? What I love about the church is that it should reflect a sacrificial church where everyone is in this together. And if you open up your Bibles, Acts chapter 12, verse 1 to 5, you'll read this account which says, and about that time, Herod the king stretched out his hand to harass some of the church. Then he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw that it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to seize Peter also. Now it was during the days of unleavened bread. So when he had arrested him, he put him in prison, delivered him to 4 squads of soldiers to keep him, intending to bring him before the people after Passover. Peter was therefore kept in prison, but constant prayer was offered to God for him by the church. The bit I love here is verse 5, where it tells us that constant prayer was offered to God by the church. See, in a moment of crisis for the church, where one of their friends, one of their leaders, one of their own has been taken by someone who has all the authority, all the power to cause harm and problems, the default within them was to pray out to God for God to do something miraculous. And lo and behold, eventually we're told that Peter is released from prison. That he goes to the house of John Mark's mother. And what are the church doing in that moment? When crisis presents itself, what are they doing? They're still praying. Their intention was not to focus on themselves. Their intention was not to focus on the negativity of the situation, but to pray to God. And I wonder, when a crisis hits, what is your default mode? What is the thing that you revert to? There are storms that we face in our lives. There are storms that reveal who we really are. And there's an opportunity in every situation, in every circumstance we face, that we find ourselves in. The question is, how are we using that situation? Are we using it to fortify something that we know of God? Are we using it to solidify who we know the nature of God to be? Or do we let the situation blow us away? If you would open up your Bibles to Matthew chapter 8, verse 23 to 27, and Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 33, we read about two storms that the disciples faced. Let's read it together. Matthew chapter 8. Now, when he got into the boat and his disciples followed him, and suddenly a great tempest arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with waves, but he was asleep. Then his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. But he said to them, Why are you fearful, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. So the men marveled at saying, Who can this be, that even the winds and sea obey him? Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 to 33 says these words. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he sent the multitudes away. And when he had sent the multitudes away, he went up the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It's a ghost. And they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. He said, Come. And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him, and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt? And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, Truly you are the Son of God. So what's happened before in Matthew chapter 8? Well, between verse 1 to 4, a leper is healed. Verse 5 to 13, Jesus heals a centurion's servant. In verse 14 to 17, Peter's mother-in-law is healed. Verse 18 to 21, Jesus outlines the cost of discipleship. So the disciples have seen Jesus exercise his authority and power to heal people. They've seen Jesus wield his power and authority to do amazing things. So they know that if anyone can do the impossible, if anyone can create nothing out of something, Jesus can. We're told in verse 23 that Jesus gets into the boat first, then the disciples follow him. Here is the truth. Here's the first truth that we need to understand, is that Jesus is with us. In the boat, in the situation, in the circumstance, he is present. This brings reassurance to us, knowing that you're not by yourself, knowing that you have the King of the universe in the boat with you, in your situation. He is there with you. He's there with you in the situations. And just like the disciples experience that thought that Jesus is with them, he is also with you. Our circumstances can change in an instant. Verse 24 tells us that suddenly, all of a sudden, it wasn't expected, it wasn't known that it was going to happen. A violent storm arose out of nowhere, and the water that was once calm, the water that was once still, is now producing waves that is not only hitting the boats, not only rocking the boat from left to right, but is now going over them. And sometimes things happen in our lives unexpectedly. In the type of scenario where you don't know which way to turn, left or right, things happen to us. And the very thing that allows you to be safe and comfortable, the boat that was once safe and comfortable, is now moving violently because of the situation. At that moment, you have one question: where is Jesus? Where is Jesus? Where is he? Where is he when the pain starts kicking in? Where is he when the feeling of suffocation starts coming around you? Where is he when the report doesn't look good? Where is he? Where is he when the pressure seems too big for you to handle? Where is Jesus? And just like the disciples realized, and they found out, Jesus is there in the boat, still in the situation, still aware of what's going on, still with the disciples, and he's with you too. Deuteronomy verse 31, verse 6 says, "Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear nor be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you, nor will he forsake you." The disciples were aware that maybe the situation was too hard for them, and so they had to wake Jesus up. They had to bring him to attention. But did he seem worried or alarmed? No, because he was the one who spoke the universe into being. He was the one who brought order out of chaos. He was the one, when he spoke, everything had its place. And if he can do it before, he can do it again. If you're around me long enough, you'll hear me say these words, that God has not let me down in the past, and as a result, he will not start now. I walk into every situation confident about who Jesus is, confident that he's done something amazing for me before, something amazing in my family, something amazing for my friends, something amazing for my church. And if he's done it before, I know my God can't let me down. It's not in his nature to let me down. It's not in his nature to allow me to fall down and not be there with me. My God, if he's done it before, he will do it again. And what intrigues me is that in verse 26, is that Jesus speaks to both the wind and the waves. He speaks to both the wind and the waves. And I realized that he spoke to the cause of the issue, the thing that was causing a problem, and the thing that was affected by it as well. Grab this for a second. If he had just spoken to the waves, the wind would have carried on. The wind would have carried on, and then it produced more waves, and then the waves would have come back and caused more issues. If he had just spoken to the wind, then the storm would have stopped, but the effects of it, the waves would have still hit the boat. It wouldn't have gone down immediately. See, by speaking to both the wind and the waves, Jesus was ensuring that this wouldn't be an issue, that the aftermath wouldn't cause problems, that everything was dealt with in one go. The one who spoke the universe into being was bringing order again to chaos. He did it before, and he was doing it again. That's a boss level move from our God, who when he spoke the world into creation, brought order to chaos, and was doing exactly the same thing with the disciples. When the wind and the waves were howling around, he brought order to the chaos. And I don't know about you, maybe you need some prayer for the chaos that's going in your life. Maybe you believe that the situation is too big, too grand. I'm going to believe right here, right now, that one word from God, one audible word from God, God being in that presence, will bring order right now to the chaos of your life. The chaos that seems too big, seems too hard, God will bring about order to it. You then go to Matthew chapter 14, and here's a bit of a recap of what's happened. John, in verse 1 to 12, John the Baptist has been beheaded because he did not agree with King Herod's decision to marry his brother's wife. And so verse 13 to 21, Jesus is obviously sad about his cousin who's just been beheaded. He goes up, or he wants to go by himself and be by himself, but we're told that a large crowd heard that Jesus was around him and followed him. And Jesus, though grieving, though hurting, though in pain, we're told in verse 14 that he's moved with compassion. He heals the sick. And I just this thought that even if Jesus is going through something, he's still concerned by those around him. Jesus is still concerned with you and your situation. And so the evening comes and the disciples say to Jesus that, hey, listen, we need to send these people away because they need to eat. And Jesus says, no, we're going to feed them. Disciples say, we've only got 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And so Jesus tells people to sit down. And in that moment, again, brings order to chaos. He brings order to chaos. He organizes the people to sit down so he can organize and administer what he needs to administer. And that day, a miracle was performed. 5,000 men, it tells us, ate. And that excludes the women and the children. So the number increases ever so much. And so our story picks up in verse 22, where Jesus tells the disciples to get into the boat and cross to the other side while he sends the people away. So our story picks up from verse 22, where Jesus tells the disciples to get into the boat and cross to the other side while he tells the people to disperse. And so at this point, Jesus goes up the mountain to pray by himself, possibly obviously what has happened about John the Baptist. And from his vantage point, I can imagine he can see where the disciples are. And in a moment, the waves start coming. There's another storm that's hitting. And I guess that sounds familiar, like in Matthew chapter 8. And there's been some time that's happened, and eventually Jesus comes between 3 and 6 in the morning. And Jesus walks over to them on the sea, and they're scared. And in the situation, calls them to say and do stuff that doesn't make sense. But Jesus seems to offer words that is soothing to the soul, offer words that will encourage them to the people in the boat. He says, "Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid." So the question for you is, in the moment you're in the situation you're in the storm that you're facing, Jesus walks up to you and he's saying to you, what is he saying to you? What is he speaking to you about your situation? What words of hope is coming from Jesus into your heart? Is it be of good cheer, I am your healer, Exodus 15:26? Is it be of good cheer, I am your provider, Matthew chapter 6, verse 26? Is it be of good cheer, I am your freedom, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17? Is it be of good cheer, I am your peacemaker, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6? Is it be of good cheer, I am your hope, Hebrews chapter 11, verse 11? Be of good cheer, I am your savior, 2 Samuel 22, verse 3? Be of good cheer, I am your friend, John chapter 15, verse 15. What is Jesus saying to you about the situation that you find yourselves in? What are you saying back to him? Because Peter immediately spoke back to Jesus. He activated his own faith. He activated something on the inside to then walk on water. Verse 30 tells us that the wind was boisterous. The wind was still strong. It hadn't quietened down. It was still active. It was still violent. The situation had not changed right away, which shows us that despite what was going on around him, Peter chose to focus on Jesus. Focus what was in front of him. Now, of course, Peter did sink and he did cry out for help, but Jesus reached out for him, which means Peter got close enough to Jesus, and at that moment, Jesus got back into the boat, and immediately the wind ceased. So what do we learn about both situations? 1, Jesus is not concerned with the storm. It doesn't faze him, it doesn't concern him, it doesn't catch him by surprise. Jesus is still all-powerful. 2, Jesus changed the situation with either a few words or a simple action. The storm that was once raging, the storm that was once full of chaos, Jesus brings order to it. And thirdly, the disciples, maybe Peter, must have learned something from their first encounter of the storm and Jesus. And I wonder if faith had been built up within Peter, that he was able to say that God has not let me down in the past, and he won't start now. Maybe all the things that Peter experienced and seen Jesus do, all those things, it built up a confidence to try something despite the storm, despite what the storm was trying to do. Maybe something had birthed from the inside to be a different type of person if a similar situation arose again. Why? Because he understood that he's Jesus, he's God, had not let him down in the past and was not going to start now. When Peter looked at the mirror during the second crisis, he wanted to be a different person to the first person who was scared and frightened. And maybe for the next 15 seconds, you can give God praise for who he is, so that when you go through a storm, the next storm, when you go through the next thing that's going to cause chaos in your life, you can say, my Jesus, you can bring order to this chaos because of what you've done in the past for me, because you have been my healer, because you have been my provider, because you have been my hope, because you have been my refuge, because you have been my salvation. Maybe with your own words, you too can release some type of praise that in the next now 5 seconds, you can say, my God, there is no one else like you in the heavens and the earth. You are good. You are good. You are majestic. You are king and you are perfect. With your own words, you too can say that my God has not let me down in the past and he won't start now. The 19th of July 2015 is a very important day in our family. It's the day that our son Caleb Joshua was born. And there are moments in there which I will never forget. I will never forget the moment when Sherry walked into the hospital for the first time. I can never forget the moment when I held him in my arms for the first time. And we can look back all happy and gleeful, but there were moments in it that weren't so great. Just at the point where it had been a long labour time duration, I don't know what it was, but it was long. And Sherry had dilated, but maybe not to a level in which the doctors needed or wanted. And so they said, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to go now. This is the moment. And they checked CJ again, and instead of being in the correct birthing position, he had shifted horizontally. And so that wouldn't have been a good birth. And so immediately doctors were saying, okay, listen, we haven't got time to discuss anything. We have to do a cesarean now. We have to do it now. We have to do it now. And so all the plans that we had of having a natural birth, of, doing a water birth, in fact, that had completely changed because CJ decided to do a little bit of a poo. But all the plans that we had been completely dashed to one side. And there was no time to think, there was no time to do anything. We'll immediately rush down to the operating theatre. And whilst we're in the waiting room, immediately my mind came to this thought that my mum had taught me that as we were children, you pray in every situation. The big, the small, the good, the bad. You pray in every situation and you see what God will do. And so something came up within me and I said, listen, son, you're going to have to change. God, I don't know how you're going to do it, but maneuver him in such a way that it will be a natural birth. He will be perfectly safe. The cord won't wrap around his neck. He'll be perfectly fine. And literally, just as they were wheeling Sherry back out, they realised that CJ had changed his position. And I believe 100% that because a crisis moment came, the mirror that was reflected on me was one of prayer. I prayed to my God, and he did something amazing. What happens to you when you're in a crisis moment? What happens to you when you're in a crisis moment? As I wrap up, there are the two things that I want to tell you. That going through crisis shows us what's on the inside. Like a mirror, it reflects who we truly are. 2, you are able to change what is on the inside by focusing on the person of Jesus, just like Peter did. Remembering that God has not let you down in the past, and as a result, he won't start now. Church, I pray that in every situation and circumstance that you find yourself in, that you'll be able to reflect the true nature of who God wants you to be. In Jesus' name, amen.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. You have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. Lord, you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, finds till I'm found, leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. 'Cause you've been so good. You've been so good to me. When I felt no worth, Lord, you paid it all for me. You've been so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I could earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love. And oh, the overwhelming, the never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, finds till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. So thankful for your love, love that knows no bounds and never fails. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, you're coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, you're coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, you're coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, you're coming after me. No shadow. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, you're coming after me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, but still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love. Sing, oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, it leaves a 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Your overwhelming love keeps chasing after us, chases after us.
Hey, thank you, Reg, for that amazing word. I trust that you were encouraged, that you were inspired, and you were instructed to take your next walk with God. If you were watching today and something about the service really blessed your heart, and you want to know what it's like to be a follower of Jesus, I want to encourage you to go to our Jesus page where you can learn everything you can about the person of Jesus Christ. You know, in a moment right now, we're going to go to our tithes and our offering, and we're going to receive that. And right after that, we're going to go to church live.
In Proverbs chapter 22, verse 9, it says, "The generous will themselves be blessed, and we are so thankful to be part of such a generous church." Here are a few ways you can give. Number 1, bank transfer. The account name is London Riverside Church. The account number is 101-577-49, and the sort code is 163010. Number 2, online giving. Please visit www.londonriversidechurch.com/giving, or click the giving page on our website and donate via PayPal. Number 3, phone call. If you prefer to give over the phone, then please call 07506 288 886 and have your card ready. If you are a UK taxpayer, don't forget to gift aid. For every £1 you give, we can claim back 25p from the government. If you'd like to sign up for gift aid, then scroll down to the button on the giving page and fill out a short form. Let us honour God with our finances and remain full of faith at this time.
Hi guys, my name is John.
My name is Kendra.
It is a very busy church life for you. Get your notepad out, get something you can write this down, because this is church life.
Church life.
Guys, coming back this week, we have Connect Groups. Connect Groups are a great way for you to connect beyond our normal interactions, whether it's on a Sunday. It's a great way to connect with new people as well. Kendra, how can someone find out more information or get in contact about Connect Groups?
Okay, so all you need to do is simply go onto the website, and as you go on, you can locate the Connect Group page. Click on there, sign up, and join.
That easy.
That easy.
Wow. So coming back this week, we told you it was going to be a busy church life. Is Apex this Friday, 7 to 9:30 p.m.
But John, you didn't say that it's only for Year 7s to Year 9s this week.
So what about Year 10 to 13?
Well, Year 10s to Year 13s will be the following week.
And then Year 7 and Year 9?
And then Year 7 and Year 9.
And they'll just alternate?
And it will
Makes
alternate.
sense. Makes sense. Any more information, visit Apex at Youth Dagenham, or parents, check your inbox, and Apex should be sending you an email very, very soon.
Yeah.
So CAP Life Skills is back. This is a great course for those that are learning to live on a budget, or you're trying to stay healthy but spend less money, or just those that are struggling financially as well. Kendra, how can I sign up, and when is it?
Okay, so this is on the 1st of October from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And all you need to do is email hello@londonriversidechurch.com.
So we have an opportunity that could fit you. We are advertising an admin assistant here at our church. If you are passionate about the local church and you are great and you want to work together with people, then this could be for you. Could be for you, could be for you, could be not for me, but for you. If you want any more information or you would like an application form, email hello@londonriversidechurch.com. We would love to have you on team with us.
So that is it from us today, guys. Wait, John, isn't it fun fact with John?
I've got a great one today. Did you know, fun fact, that Gowan and Reg buy their shirts from the same shop?
Oh, wow.
Look, I'm about to show you, see? You see, last week, they wore the exact same shirt.
Oh, wow.
Which must mean that they buy it from the same shop.
Maybe.
Have a great week, guys. Bye.
Hey, thank you so much for watching with us today. We're so glad that you were here. We trust that you were blessed by the service today. If this encouraged you and blessed you, I want to encourage you to share this with your friends, with your family, with your work colleagues. But also, we would love you to jump online on our social media pages to see what God is doing here. Hey, God bless you. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.